I'm a shipyard worker fae days of old. Ships I've built and tales I've told, but there's nane like the struggle o' 71 when Heath said we were done. Oh, roll the Union on, we are might, we're gonna fight and claim the right to work, wicked cheer and hurt. These lairds and lackeys canny hack it our credit's good, but they deny it. Honourable folk is what we are, we build ships and build men. Oh, roll the Union on, we are might, we're gonna fight and claim the right to work, wicked cheer and hurt. While there are still ships to build, we'll work in 'cause we're strong-willed. We'll take control of the years with grace and dignity. Oh, roll the Union on, we are might, we're gonna fight and claim the right to work, wicked cheer and hurt. Da 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 da. Thousands came fae far and wide to stand together side by side. There we stood at your square, then marched to Glasgow Green. Oh, roll the Union on, we are might, we're gonna fight and claim the right to work, wicked cheer and heart. There were miners, draftsmen, postal workers, engineers and transport workers, boiler makers, clerical workers, students and nurses too. Oh, roll the Union on, we are might, we're gonna fight and claim the right to work, wicked cheer and hurt. And Edward Heath and his crew, they altered course, and then we knew that all the yards would stay afloat, would live to fight another day. Oh, roll the Union on, we are might, we're gonna fight and claim the right to work, wicked cheer and hurt. Oh, roll the Union on, we are might, we're gonna fight and claim the right to work, wicked cheer and hurt.
I was working in my garden on the banks of the Clyde. I was thinking of the ships men built, their passion and their pride. I was yearning for the past as I raked through all the weeds. When will we see the likes again of yon Jimmy Reid?
He led the men of 71. He fought to save the yards. With the world's eyes upon him, he learned to play his cards. Proclaimed the right of men to work. Fairness was his creed. When will we see the lights again, yon Jimmy Reid?
He said, there's those who'll tell you boys, tell you to keep quiet. No good can ever come from this, just keeps you in the dark. For a man, he needs to earn a wage with empty mouths to feed. When will we see the likes again of yon Jimmy Reid?
Man is the measure of all things, and Jimmy knew this well. And nothing was too good for the working man, his friends he would tell. He preserved their dignity and hope in their hour of need. And when will we see the lights again of yon Jimmy Reid?
In life or death, he did not want false praise or sympathy. And what good is wealth if you lose your soul? Jimmy, he would say. It only serves to alienate, breeds discontent and greed. When will we see the likes again of yon Jimmy Reid?
I'm thinking now of Jimmy's words, how they still ring true. For unity is strength in what we choose to do. The powers that surround us try to exploit us, so take heed. When will we see the likes again of yon Jimmy Reid?
Now way out over yonder there upon the Clyde, the sun it shines, then it sets on the rising tide. Across the firth a ship's horn blasts as I plant new seed. I hope we'll see the likes again of yon Jimmy Reid.
During the making of the video, I was asked what inspired me to write the poem and the song. So I thought it might be helpful to add a bit of background. Firstly, though, I have to admit I have little recollection of the Upper Clyde Shipbuilders working. I was aged 15 then. But I do have some family connections to shipbuilding on the Clyde. Jamie Dixon, my grandfather, started work as a riveter at the Scotstoun Yard shortly after he fought in the First World War. I wrote the lament for Jimmy Reid shortly after Jimmy's funeral in 2010. I had put it aside and forgot all about it. I only rediscovered it recently by chance under a pile of papers when I was decluttering during the pandemic. It's based on newspaper articles and obituaries at the time. I also came across a 4-page spread on Jimmy's funeral from the Herald under a pile of old newspapers. I know, I'm a bit of a hoarder, which maybe you can see. But what I'll do is I'll take some photographs and upload it so you can see it better. So there you can see the family gathering. And then there's photos there of Alex Ferguson and Billy Connolly. They gave tributes at the funeral service. And there you can see the shipyard workers paying their own tribute. And the young apprentices, the next generation that's coming through there. The Herald article reported on the 2 funeral services that took place for Jimmy. One in Rothesay that lasted about 20 minutes, the other in Govan. Jimmy's close friend Dan Egder is reported to have said at the end of the Rothesay funeral service, "Jimmy, I salute you. When will we see your likes again?" And that's really what inspired the lament. When we came to perform the poem as a group, we wanted to have a 50-50 split between men and women, to remember that women were also involved in supporting the shipyard workers. As Alex Ferguson said at the Govan funeral service, the thing that impressed me most was that the shipyard workers were given hope by Jimmy. It was the mothers and wives, I remember. They had to keep the house and make ends meet, knowing their men had a full day's work. Billy Connolly also spoke at Jimmy's funeral, jokingly saying of strikes, "You have to go home to your wife with no wages and explain it was your idea." Of course, being an ex-shipyard worker himself, the Big Yin helped with the fundraising effort in '71, performing on stage at Glasgow Green with the likes of Matt McGinn and others. In keeping with the Glasgow folk song tradition, typified by the likes of Billy Connolly and Matt McGinn, the song is my best attempt to sum up the story of the UCS struggle of '71, which happened some 50 years ago this year. I know how time flies. It's sung to the tune of the Wellerman Sea Shanty, the one that topped the charts this year by the Airdrie postie, Nathan Evans. Sea shanties have a history of telling stories, often about hard times. Their purpose was to help raise spirits and give hope, particularly when sung together. Unity and harmony, just like the UCS struggle when everyone was singing off the same page. The UCS struggle was about making connections, connecting communities, workers, trade unions, local authorities, all for a common cause. And of course, it goes without saying, given that the context is about ships, I felt a sea shanty was particularly apt in helping to tell the story of the UCS Work In. O'er all the Union on we are Mike, we're gonna fight and claim the right to work with good cheer and heart. O'er all the Union on we are Mike, we're gonna fight and claim the right to work with good cheer and with heart.